What up, everyone? Zach here. Gonna do a tier list of my 2025 NFL teams. We're gonna go in order here, assign each team to a different tier. We got the Super Bowl favorites, contenders, playoff teams, potential wild card teams, teams who I think are gonna miss the playoffs, teams who are mediocre, young but could have a decent season, and then the bottom barrel teams, the number one pick contention. So let's just get right into it with the New Orleans Saints. They're going to be a number one pick contention, but I think they're going to play themselves out of that because they're going to do something stupid and win 5 games. But I don't even think they know who their quarterback's going to be this year. They should tank. Obviously, it's hard to tank in the NFL, but they should do everything in their power to get the number one pick. The Miami Dolphins, mediocre at best, would be where I would put them. Might put them in just straight up missing the playoffs because I don't even know if I want to call them mediocre. They're not a good team. I'm going to put them there. They're not a good team. Mike McDaniels is going to get his ass fired before the season ends, and it's not going well in Miami. Things are bad. The team doesn't seem to be working around him very well. So the Baltimore Ravens, unfortunately, as a Bills fan, got to put them in Super Bowl favorites. The team's good. They got the running back. They got the wide receivers. They got the quarterback. They got the coaching. They got the defense, of course. But can they win the playoffs? We'll see. Cincinnati Bengals, I think, are a playoff team. Actually, we're going to move into potential wild card just because that division is so tough. They spent a lot of money on wide receivers. They spent a lot of money on their quarterback and absolutely nothing on their defense. We don't know what's going on with Henderson. We'll see if he resigns, but Bengals are going to be a team that's going to need to put up 40 points a game to win, and I think they'll be able to because their defense should have a few decent games here and there where they hold their opponent, under 20-ish points, but they're going to have to put up a ton of points. The Denver Broncos, I really like what they did. I'm not going to put them in contenders until they can prove that they can win in the playoffs, but I definitely think they're a much improved team over last year where they played well. Bo Nick's going to a second year. We'll see if he regresses at all. Sean Payton's a great coach. I think they're going to be in a good spot. New York Giants, young but intriguing. I don't think they're going to win very many games. I think Jackson Dart at some point is going to start at quarterback because Brian Dable is going to attempt to save his job, and if Dart comes in late in the year, plays well, that's maybe the only thing Dable can do to keep his job. They got some young pieces on the defense. Abdul Carter. Interested to see how he turns out. Minnesota, I also have as a playoff team. Minnesota's interesting. They were good last year with Sam Darnold. They struggled late in the year, couldn't win the big games. That's more of a Sam Darnold thing, I believe. Now they're just anticipating J.J. McCarthy's going to come in and do the same thing as Sam Darnold. Is it possible? Yeah. It's definitely possible, and I think it could happen. LA Rams, a lot of people are saying they're a clear-cut playoff team, but Matthew Stafford might barely play. So I'm going to put him in the wild card spot for now. Yeah, it's really up to Stafford. If Stafford misses really any games, I can't put him anything higher than a wild card. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, are going to win the division. I wouldn't call them a Super Bowl contender by any means, but they had a good season last year, and they can absolutely do it again. Detroit Lions, first team going in the Super Bowl contender category. I don't think they're a favorite. They lost their offensive and defensive coordinators to the Jets and the Bears. We'll see. See if the offense is explosive now that they've lost Ben Johnson, and we'll see what Dan Campbell can do. But the roster, it's a very good roster. It's a very deep roster. They're very aggressive. The division's tough too, which, you got to include. But after they got smoked in the playoffs, I think they have a little bit of a bounce back year. Chicago. I'm going to put them in missing the playoffs. Caleb Williams, I don't really have faith in him. I think Ben Johnson's going to help this team get in the right direction, but I'm not comfortable putting the Bears as a potential wildcard team yet. So we'll stick them there. 49ers, probably just missing the playoffs. I mean, they can't seem to stay healthy. If they stay healthy, you never know with them. They're probably more of a potential wildcard team, but right now I'm going to keep missing the playoffs. Eagles, definitely a Super Bowl favorite. You win the Super Bowl. Yes, they lost 8 very key players in free agency. However, if you won the Super Bowl last year, in my opinion, you're a favorite to repeat. The Raiders, mediocre at best. I mean, Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, we'll see what they do. Ashton Genty should have a decent rookie year. Other than that, not a whole lot going on in their defense. It's the Raiders. Come on. Packers. I think the Packers are definitely a playoff team. That would make probably one of these teams a wild card team, but that's okay. We'll pretend that's not how this is working out. Packers, Jordan Love had a good year last year. We'll see if he can replicate that. Washington, gonna also add as a playoff team. I think last year they kind of overachieved with their roster, and they definitely got better on paper. Their offensive line significantly better. Jay Daniels going into year two of Dan Quinn. So, they went to the NFC Championship last year, and I see no reason that they're going to fall out of that. Arizona, honestly, I think they're mediocre. I just don't see them contending or doing anything. Kyler Murray is just, in my opinion, not very good. Pittsburgh can definitely not put them in young because they are old. We're going to put them in missing the playoffs. I'd consider them a little better than mediocre. If Aaron Rodgers can move around, yeah, we'll see. But until he can show he can move, I don't see that happening. My Buffalo Bills are a Super Bowl favorite. They have the roster, they have the quarterback, they have the MVP, they have everything they need to win a Super Bowl except their ability to beat the Chiefs. So that's literally all I can say. They improved over last year where they, should have been in the AFC Championship, but you know what? Where they should have been in the Super Bowl, but can't get over the Chiefs hump. Falcons are an interesting team. As much as I want to put them in a playoffs team, I'm going to put them in a potential wild card. Michael Penix Jr. can play well, have a good second year, even though he barely played his rookie year. We'll see. Kirk Cousins is interesting because he's, now a year further from his Achilles surgery, so he might, who knows, he really might be a good trade target for a team. If any quarterback on any of these teams above get hurt, Kirk Cousins is essentially, he'll get traded for like a 5th round draft pick. Seattle. I think Seattle can really be a playoff team. I don't know why I'm so high in Seattle. I'm thinking Sam Darnold could replicate what he did in Minnesota. I just feel like there's no expectations on Seattle, and we might actually just kind of see them sneak in. Patriots, I think, are missing the playoffs. I think they're better than mediocre. They're definitely going to be better than last year. They added Stephon Diggs. They added some other pieces for Drake May. Mike Vrabel is the head coach, but I think it's going to take more than just kind of a year to completely turn that around. Cleveland Browns, honestly, they're a number one pick contender, I think. They're starting Joe Flacco. They have Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. They have all these quarterbacks. At some point, they're going to move off of Joe Flacco, I feel like. Unless Joe Flacco can just play so consistent, they'll move off to another quarterback and work to develop that person. And that's just going to come with some losses. Houston's potential wildcard team. That division's weak. CJ Stroud's got to bounce back, but I don't really see a world. I'm going to make them a playoff team actually because they're going to win that division. There's like no way they're not. Kansas City Chiefs, unfortunately, are a Super Bowl favorite. And honestly, what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to move some teams down to the contender, and I'll leave the Super Bowl favorites, who I think will be in the Super Bowl this season. Chiefs, until they lose, you can't really say much about them. Dallas, I think Dallas missing the playoffs. Dak Prescott's a bum. Micah Parsons ain't getting re-signed. Jerry Jones don't know what he's doing. I hate the Cowboys. That's really all I can say. I'm biased. Chargers, definitely a playoff team. Another year under Jim Harbaugh. Justin Herbert, no more excuses, buddy. They added Najee Harris if he can even play. They got, who's that running back from North Carolina in the draft? I can't think of it. Good offensive line. They play physical football, good defense. I think they're going to get in the playoffs easily. Jets, we'll go young but intriguing. Justin Fields, he can kind of be young head coach. So we'll see how that goes. Carolina, definitely young but intriguing. Bryce Young looked good at the end of last season. He's got to take the next step forward. Same with Tennessee, Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's going to have a Jaden Daniels-like season, but the rest of that roster is so bad. The Colts, I think, are mediocre at best. Don't really know what the Colts are trying to do. They're just... Colts are kind of just there, man. And Jaguars will put in the potential wild card. If Trevor Lawrence can play out of his mind, there's a chance. So I'm going to go for my Super Bowl. Say the Eagles get back, take on my Buffalo Bills. Let me know what you think. Peace.